If only everyone else could just change, I'd be a happier person, right? Hi there, I'm Irene Anggreeni, and I thought today I'll speak about change. Change is the staple ingredient of reinventing oneself, and it can be observable, like changing your job, your appearance, your glasses, or your routine, but it can also be a deeper kind of change. For instance, in your mood or in your view about the world, in your mindset and your thought patterns. Change is often not pleasant, and actually it can be painful. If there's anything I've learned though, changing and reinventing oneself, it's a courageous act of self-love. My intention today is to invite you to reflect about your life, where it is currently heading to. Are you happy with it? Do you want to change the direction or the path you take to get there? Do you want to change it a bit or do you want to change it a lot? And I'll be happy also to hear from you if you have undergone your own transformation journey. What was the reason and what was the breaking point for you? And what power did you gain from it? Now is exactly the moment for reinventing ourselves. Our world, community, and the new normal, they are all still being shaped by uncertainties. And in between the waves of uncertainties, if we are calm enough, we could also see there are opportunities. And this is a long haul process. And important for anyone riding the waves of change is to get closest to the core of who you are, so that change becomes a vehicle that gets you closer to your true self. Now, I have my own share of reinvention stories that I love to share here. Yeah, where to start? Well, I come from Indonesia, and over the past 16 years, living abroad have changed me quite a bit. There have always been the push or the pull power in all the changes that I've gone through. So in my young adulthood, in my early 20s, I was mainly pulled by my ambition to achieve more, to learn more about the world, and to see other countries. So I'm from a middle class family, ethnic Chinese minority in Indonesia. I lost my father as a teenager and I grew up quite limited financially. And it was a dream of my younger self to be able to continue my studies in Europe. I started working quite early during my bachelor study. It was in computer science. I was already working as a TA, teaching assistant. And soon after graduating at 21, I got my first real employment as a software engineer. So during this first year of working, I put in the effort. I put in the work, applying for master programs and searching for scholarships in Europe. And the outcome? Well, I was successful in one application. It has brought me to Sweden to study for my master's degree in computer science. And I thought, and I thought, yes, my dream is accomplished. Yet I didn't realize that the 2 years I spent away from home and family and friends have reshaped me a lot. I had a chance to redefine myself and to reconsider what's important to me outside of the influence of my family and the society back home. And new doors opened. In beginning, I was imagining that after my master studies, I would then just get a job and stay in Sweden. Well, I ended up continuing with doctoral studies and I followed the job to the Netherlands. So in this country, PhD students are employed as junior researchers at the university. So I received salary just like a working woman, and I also had teaching duties. And this period was when I became aware of my stunted emotional development and limited communication skills. In that period, I felt like a pressure cooker most of the time. There was academic pressure, dealing with my imposter syndrome, and culture shock, not just from moving countries, but also from transitioning from being a student to the working life in academia. Inside, I had these complex, intense feelings fueled by loneliness, anxiety, and depressive tendencies. At the same time, I didn't know how to express these feelings safely or constructively. The language was also an extra blocking factor. I could not formulate my feelings or my emotions in a fluent way. Even in my native language, I didn't possess the nuance of that emotional language. So to cope, I drowned myself in my job and lots of social activities. So it was quite an escapism. Back then, if I had a support network or a community where I could put my trust in, I would have opened up and shared about my struggle. But I didn't feel that I had a safe enough connection in which I could do that. Fast forward, this went on for several years. And looking back to those years, it was a case of high functioning depression. The catch 22 is that I was still able to function, finish my PhD, keep a job, have a social life, and seemingly having my life in order, although inside I was feeling a chronic emptiness. I reached out for professional help multiple times, unsuccessfully, because I seemed okay and I was not convincingly depressed. It got to the point where I felt no joy left whatsoever in my life, and the supporting relationships I had were falling apart. My work felt meaningless, and I struggled with an existential crisis. I had hit my limit and collapsed into a major depression episode. So, with what energy I had left, also powered by anger, the anger from earlier not being taken seriously, I reached out again for professional help with more resolve. I had got to get help, and I wouldn't be sent away without a referral to a specialized mental health care. So, sharing about this now, I still feel a residue of that anger. That even after opening up, being vulnerable, and asking for professional help, it had to get to that point before my mental health struggle was taken seriously. This could have been avoided, but then I might not have become who I am now. Today, I am a mental health professional and well-being consultant. How did I get to here? Well, this experience of depression as a solo expat has left a deep impact on me. I could have stayed angry to everything and everyone for my suffering. I'm fortunate enough, though, to have discovered mindfulness practice. And with it, I learned to transform my anger into more wholesome actions. So, as I was in therapy, I was proactively searching for my own personalized way to sustain my day to day well being. From a friend back in Indonesia, I learned about the Plum Village community that teaches applied mindfulness. And I really love the foundation of the practice, which is interbeing. So, you and me, we inter are, And if there's no you, there's no I. And we never exist independently. We are always in interconnection with all things. So everyone who acknowledges this interbeingness works through their process, their challenge, and creates their own happiness. At the same time, it's never a solitary journey with the power of a community. And this was actually my first step to experiencing a sense of safety in this world. I became more aware of my emotional wounds and traumas, and I discovered a lot of internalized blame, guilt, and shame to work through. And in the process, I was also grieving for the losses I had throughout my life. And yeah, it was a sticky, yucky process, and I had to find ways to deal with it. So, before my major depression, I was an avid dancer. I danced a lot socially. I even started a club and taught the club at the club. And I had to stop because I didn't feel any joy anymore. I didn't have any energy anymore. In my recovery phase from depression, I was carefully redefining my relationship with dance. I wanted to dance for myself, to process my emotions. Yeah, all those grief, guilt, shame, anger, sadness, and express all these that move me inside. Then I discovered about the existence of dance therapy, and it is actually an actual profession in the mental health care under the umbrella of creative arts therapies. And some time later, I decided to study again because I was so much touched by the power of dance, creativity, embodiment as therapy. So I studied again to become a dance movement psychotherapist. And that's actually the thing that brought me to Rotterdam. So I did my master's studies in dance therapy at Codarts, which is in Rotterdam. So the pressure cooker has finally found a safe outlet through nonverbal, creative, playful expression. And I was gently integrating also my body, emotions with my mind, acknowledging what's from the past and what is here in the present. Also uncovering my unconscious beliefs and making them conscious so I can work through them. These subtle shifts inside have created massive changes in my life, and it has given me a lot of power. Just to be aware that I have a body and that I have a home within. So I'm still on that journey, and the beautiful thing is I know you are also on that journey, especially if you are listening up until this point. I know that I don't have to be perfect to show up here and share this with you. Recently, the power of reinvention has been following me. I was a speaker at the first Power of Reinvention Summit, and with the same organizer, we are currently continuing our collaboration. So I'm writing a chapter in their upcoming book with the same title, and in there I'll be sharing my story and answering the question, who am I really? So making this video is a part of that process, and this is my practice for showing up even when it's scary. To come back to the title of this video, why should I change? Well, in short, I have to. I couldn't have it any other way. And I see it like this. It is a process not unsimilar to how a tree grows. So a tree does not pretend to be something else. It's just actualizing itself to the best, to what's given. and it has to go through hurdles and crises through its lifetime. Yet it grows higher and it goes deeper in order to find nourishment, to adapt to the condition, to survive, and with all intention to thrive. And this tree gives back to its surrounding in a very genuine way. So by bearing fruits or giving flowers or giving shade and sheltering other creatures. And not more, not less. I'm learning to be more like a tree. So it's reinvention, whether it is pushed or whether it's pulled. I aim it to bring me closer to myself and in much more alignment with who I am. So I'll share more in upcoming videos. If you want to be notified, subscribe and don't forget to hit the bell. And I would love to hear from you as well. What has been the drive in your reinvention journey? Why should you change? So comment or private message to me. And see you in my next video.